So does more affordable necessarily translate to value for money? That's what we're going to be finding out in today's episode when we compare two mid-sized saloons. One which is ideally the king of the segment, the Mazda Atenza or Mazda 6, the facelifted 2018 model to be precise, and the second one is the much underrated Nissan Tiana, which in other markets such as the US is known as the Nissan Altima. We are going to be talking about these two mid-sized saloons very in-depthly to help you make a well-informed decision on which specific one to go for. By the way, currently a 2018 Nissan Tiana is cheaper compared to the Atenza by roughly around half a million shillings. But yet so many people are still willing to cough out all that extra money to get the Atenza. There must be a reason for that, and I know you are probably saying in your mind that it's the CVT issues in the Nissan Tiana. Well, you may be right, but to a very small extent, because surprisingly, the CVT in the Tiana is not as problematic as the ones in the X-Trails, Serrana, Juke, and Murano. So please stay tuned as we delve into these two saloons shortly. As always, if you find this content helpful, please do consider subscribing to the channel for more informative content on cars and bikes. And do remember that apart from car consultation, we also offer other services such as sourcing of locally and foreign used cars and soon to come mechanical inspection. So keep it locked at IK Photo Reviews and welcome. So the 2018 Tiana is the third generation, which was in production from 2013 till about 2019, after which it was discontinued. The 2018 Atenza, on the other hand, is also the third generation, which has been in production from 2014 till present. That's a production period of about 11 years, yet this car still looks fresh, courtesy of the facelifts that have been done over the years. Now, as usual, we will begin with the engine options. The Nissan Tiana L33 comes with three options, though one is the only one that is quite common and easy to get locally. The first option is the MR20 2000cc 4-cylinder engine that produces 134 horsepower. You will get this particular engine in Singapore imports. Then the second option is the QR25. It's a 2500cc, which is the most common option as it's imported from Japan. This one produces 173 horsepower and it's also a 4-cylinder. Some people actually think that it's a V6, but no, it's in fact a 4-cylinder. The V6 was available in the previous generation of the Tiana, but with this third generation there was a bit of downsizing, as is the norm with other car makers, so as to reduce emissions as well as attain better efficiency. The only V6 that is available is the 3500cc VQ35 that produces about 228 horsepower, but it's limited to some markets such as the US and others. In fact, even getting it locally is not easy. You'll mostly get the 2500cc. This vehicle is available in either front or all-wheel drive, and as for the transmission options, there's only one, which is a CVT. But before we talk about this CVT, let's first talk about these engines. In terms of refinement, they are quite good, almost as smooth and refined as a V6 engine. Reliability wise, they are also very good. And by the way, let's give credit where it's due. For the most part, Nissan engines are normally reliable, but what lets Nissan down as a brand is their CVTs, and we've especially seen this in the Serena, March, Juke, and X-Trail. In fact, in the X-Trail, it's so bad that some garages have seen it as a lucrative opportunity. You find that a garage at any point in time has more than 5 X-Trails, all having CVT issues. So it's really that serious. That said, the CVT in this Tiana is not that problematic. Yes, there have been a few sporadic cases here and there, but they are not as rampant as in other Nissan models. Now, just as a precautionary measure, make sure you use the right recommended CVTF, which in this case is NS3. That is what Nissan recommends. These CVTs are delicate and sensitive, and some of these issues may be brought about by poor maintenance. So to be on the safe side, use the right CVTF. Secondly, again, to be on the safe side, install the CVT oil cooler, especially if you tend to drive for very long distances frequently. Lastly, avoid rapid and hard accelerations. Just allow the car to build up speed gradually. If you do this, then the chances of issues cropping up will be quite low. Something else that I should mention is that don't think that just because Nissan downsized to a 2500cc four-cylinder that now it's too slow. In fact, it's not by any means slow. That 2.5 liter four-cylinder is very decent in terms of power. Sure enough, it's not as powerful as the 2.5 in the Atenza, but it will not be left too much behind. As for consumption, the 2.0 can return figures of up to around 14.5 kilometers per liter, depending on how you drive. Then the 2.5 liter around 13ish kilometers per liter, which is decent enough, not groundbreaking and also not too bad. On to the Atenza or Mazda 6, there are 4 engine options. Initially, before this 2018 facelift, there were just 3 options, but that facelift also brought about a new engine, which is not yet that common in Kenya, but with time it may find its way here. Let's begin with the least powerful option, which is the 2000cc that produces about 165 horsepower, quite more powerful compared to the 2000cc in the Tiana. The next option is the 2500cc, also 4-cylinder, that produces 187 horsepower. The third option is the new 2500cc turbocharged petrol that gives out 227 horsepower if you use regular fuel, but if you use high octane fuel, it will produce around 250 horsepower. It's actually the most powerful petrol engine in the Atenza, and I reckon quite a good number of people will prefer it compared to the turbo diesel because it's more reliable yet also very powerful. Last but not least, there's the very torquey 2200cc turbo diesel that gives out 184 horsepower and a healthy 380 newton meters of torque. This engine is best suited for long distances as well as climbing those very steep inclines. Now, the petrol options are all very reliable, very responsive and easy to maintain. In fact, compared to the Tiana's engines, these Atenza's engines are all more powerful. And as I've always said, if you prefer absolute reliability, then get either the 2000cc or 2500cc petrol. The 2000cc is good for point A to B with a bit of efficiency. The 2.5 on the other hand is more powerful but at the slight expense of high consumption, but generally these two options are very reliable and easy to maintain. Nothing much goes wrong with them. You may part with less than 10,000 shillings to do the minor service on these engines. So they are very easy and affordable to maintain. The diesel on the other hand is sort of a mixed bag. Now don't get me wrong, they can be very reliable, especially the later improved models like this facelifted 2018. There have been several improvements to enhance better reliability, but still there are some key issues to keep in mind, like the DPF issues, which may crop up if you frequently stick to short distances. Now, as I've always advised, just delete that DPF and you will have gotten rid of any future issues that may crop up. You don't want to be visiting the garage after some kilometers to have your DPF unblocked or even replaced. So just delete it. I think depending on where it's done, it may roughly cost anywhere between 20 to around 30,000 shillings. The other issue may arise due to poor maintenance, and it has to do with turbo failure. If you don't change the engine oil, then you may be risking turbo failure as well as many other engine issues. So to be on the safe side, don't even think of postponing the service. If you're supposed to do the service after 5,000 or maybe 7,000 kilometers, then please do so, because this diesel engine is sensitive and even the slightest form of negligence may cause a plethora of issues which may be difficult to diagnose and even repair. And also remember to stick to the recommended oil. There's also the issue of carbon buildup, which is quite common with diesels. So generally they can be reliable, but you have to be careful because these are sensitive engines. In short, they need a bit of pampering. Transmission wise, there are two options, either a 6-speed automatic or a 6-speed manual, both of which are very strong, solid and reliable transmissions. Mazda has continued to prove that you can achieve good consumption figures even without CVT. In fact, the 2.0 liter in the Tiana achieves almost similar figures to the 2.0 liter in this Atenza with an automatic gearbox. It gets about 14ish kilometers per liter, the 2.5 around 12.5, the 2.5 turbo around 11, and lastly the diesel around 18, though it can very well exceed that and even hit 20 kilometers per liter if you drive decently. This diesel engine, if maintained well, may save you quite a significant amount of money in terms of fuel. The fuel tank capacity in the Teana is 65 liters, while the one in the Atenza is 62 liters. As for ground clearance, both cars fall below the recommended 165mm clearance, but the Atenza is not too bad. You can live with the car as it is. In fact, I wouldn't advise anyone to modify the clearance, as it will affect its handling and also spoil its good looks. The Teana has a lower clearance of 130mm, so you may struggle more on this car, but what you can do is just install slightly larger wheels instead of modifying the clearance. This will ensure you still maintain the sleek looks, but at the same time you will have slightly increased the clearance. What about the suspension setups? Both saloons get McPherson struts at the front and a multi-link setup at the back. Now, they may have the same setups, but they are tuned very differently. If you've been in both cars, then you may understand how different their ride qualities are. The Teana is very soft and comfortable. It absorbs the road undulations very well, and its comfort is even compounded by its very comfortable seats, which Nissan calls the zero gravity seats. The Atenza, on the other hand, is a bit stiffer, not too stiff that it's very uncomfortable, or let me put it this way, its suspension is on the firm side of comfortable. You will tend to feel some bumps and undulations, though there is a positive side to this, which is that this car tends to handle the road well. It hugs the road well even on corners and bends. It's ideal for those who fancy a bit of an engaging drive. Stopping power in both cars is made possible by ventilated discs at the front and solid discs at the back. Then as for the carboids, the Teana measures about 1480 kgs while the Atenza 1450 kgs. So not much of a difference. As for safety, these vehicles both do well, but the Atenza is slightly more ahead. As standard, the Teana offers driver, passenger, side and curtain airbags, ABS, EBD, ESP, traction control, hill assist, and collision mitigation. Then the optional features depending on the trim level are lane keeping assist and blind spot detection. The Atenza, on the other hand, offers everything that the Teana offers as standard. Even the Teana's optional features are standard in the Atenza. So no matter which grade you go for, you are guaranteed of all those active driver assist safety features. It even adds smart city brake support, so generally quite impressive. Then as for the optional features depending on the trim level, the Atenza takes the day yet again, especially the top of the range diesel option that can get features such as a 360 degrees parking camera, wood finish, leather interior, a heads-up display, heated and cooled seats, a sunroof, electric rear sunshade, which by the way is a feature that is mostly found in luxury cars like the Toyota Crown, Mercedes E-Class and others. The other features are a heated steering wheel, electric memory front seats, and a premium Bose audio system. This is very impressive. It's a heavily packed car in terms of the features. But even if you go for the lower spec with the 2000cc petrol, the amount of kit you get is still very good. Like for example, you may get cloth seats, but you will still get electric memory seats, heads-up display, cruise control, and much more. On to the Nissan Teana, which lags slightly behind but not too much. It can get features such as a 360 degrees camera, cruise control, leather interior, sunroof, larger alloy wheels, parking sensors, and electric heated seats. Now, how much will this vehicle set you back at? Currently, a 2018 model of the Teana, depending on the mileage and trim level, will set you back between 1.7-ish to around 2.3 million, while a 2018 facelifted model of the Atenza is going for between 2.2 to around 2.7 million. Before we talk about value for money, let's very quickly talk about the exteriors, interiors, pros and cons. Starting with their exteriors, there's no doubt that the Atenza looks way more premium, sleek, elegant and sporty. This refresh has made it look even better. There are no fog lights. It seems like all the lights have been integrated into the main light. The chrome bits have further compounded its luxurious and premium vibe. The Tiana, on the other hand, has more of a mature and simpler design. It doesn't shout its presence. It's one of those vehicles that very easily blend into the crowd. The same can be said about the interiors. The Atenza takes the day hands down. It's better in almost all aspects, from the fit and finish to the premium feel of the quality of materials. Even the layout is quite nice. The same simple and straightforward approach of the Tiana's exterior is mirrored onto its interior. It's well laid out, very simple, but definitely not as premium and elegant as that of the Atenza. Space in both cars is very good. 5 people plus some significant luggage can very well fit in both salons easily. On to the pros and cons, beginning with the pros of the Tiana. This car is very comfortable. Its engines are very smooth and refined and also reliable as well. And lastly, it offers decent value for money considering the price. Its cons are low ground clearance, low resale value, and a bit of CVT issues. Though, as I said earlier, they are not very rampant as in other Nissan models. The Atenza, on the other hand, is very premium and has a luxurious vibe to it. It's very feature loaded, it's engaging to drive, very reliable, especially the petrol options, has a sleek design, and lastly, it's a very safe vehicle. The cons are the aforementioned diesel issues, low ground clearance, and a slightly stiffer ride, though this is not necessarily a serious con, as some people may like the stiffer ride, and also there's a positive side to that stiff ride, which is good handling. So now, with all that said, which saloon should you go for? It's evident that the Atenza is ahead in most aspects, from looks, features, handling, power, reliability, and premiumness. And it's easy to see why most people are willing to cough out that extra $500,000 to get this car. But think about this for a second. If you have around 1.92 million shillings, you can get a very good spec 2018 Tiana, then install a CVT oil cooler for around 20,000 shillings and save around 480,000 shillings. Does that make sense? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, but this is what I think. If finances allow, then get the Atenza. It's a better car in many aspects, but if you are on a tight budget and you want to have something a bit more different, because let's face it, Mazdas are taking over this mantra that the car ahead is always a Toyota. It's now changing to the car ahead is always a Mazda. They are becoming quite common to the point that their side mirrors, lights, and other parts are now being stolen in traffic jams because of their high demand. So if you are a person who does not want to go the route that other people are taking, if you want to be a bit different and are also on a tight budget, you can as well go for this Nissan Tiana. And in fact, you will be way better off compared to if you decide to go for a basic premium worth over 2 million shillings. So in short, in as much as the Atenza is the king of the segment, the Tiana still makes a lot of sense, especially for those on a tight budget or those who don't want to drive what has now become Kenya's school uniform. I hope this has been helpful. Which one would you go for? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. As always, if you have any inquiries, feel free to reach me via WhatsApp or email. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay safe, ride and drive safe, and see you in the next one. But kindly, before you go, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button.